He had to say.
As a rookie, you just try to learn the most as possible. So right now, there's a lot of information. You know, it's coming like a fire hose, but at that time, I'm just trying to take it all in to get better every single day. It's the attention to detail, and it's really, you know, connecting with the teammates. It's so great in rookie camp, all coming together as an offense, as a defense, special teams, as a team together to have coherent practices so we can all get better at football.
Yeah, he should create a guidebook on what to say before you play a game in the NFL. He's literally been perfect. It is. I was reading, after the draft, I like mock drafts, and I was reading about it, and people have talked about it was one of the strangest drafts ever. The top of it was awful, and the bottom of it was worse because of the NIL. And there's a lot of back and forth on Fernando Mendoza and the impact. The difference is there's a lot of, there's a pretty sizable group of bad NBA teams, bad baseball teams, bad pro football teams. But they're not all the same. I've said this about the New York Giants. The Giants needed the right coach. I think the Giants have 6 or 7 really good players. I think by adding Tyler Linderbaum and Naylor, the wide receiver from Minnesota, I think the Raiders actually have some players. And I love their draft. So, we've said this before. The NFL, it's just so funny. A year ago, if I would have said on the air, Sam Darnold is going to meet the Patriots in the Super Bowl, that would have been the steamiest of hot takes. It would have sounded ridiculous. And if I would have told you Darnold is going to beat the Rams in the playoffs, he's not going to have a turnover. You'd be like, okay, now that you couldn't pitch that in Hollywood. They'd say it's unrealistic. So there is going to be a couple of teams in this league that were bad last year, and they're going to be really good. I tend to think the New York Giants, by getting Harbaugh, I thought they did a really good job in their draft. I think the Giants are going to really improve. I got to tell you, if I had to pick a second right now, I think it's the Raiders. And you say to yourself, oh, the division's really tough. Okay, so let's just say it out loud. Justin Herbert, no playoff wins. I mean, don't make it out to be they're the Rams. Okay, so and I love Justin, but how formidable is that? It's an imperfect roster. They had to draft 4 offensive linemen, like they have offensive line issue. Well, Denver, I like Denver. I think they're a little top heavy on the roster. Bo Nix coming off an injury I thought Jalen Waddle ended up being pretty smart in a bad draft, good pick. But I mean, Kansas City, I think I'm more optimistic on Kansas City than anybody else. They still, you hope they're 3 top rookie picks. I think they're really good players. You hope they're productive, especially by Thanksgiving. But the idea, the best division in football is the NFC North. That division is, your 4th place team, Minnesota, viewed as a 4th place team, was 4-2 last year in division, beat the Lions twice, and maybe has, the best staff. Between Flores and Kevin O'Connell, you have a great staff.
Okay, so now we're going to start downplaying the Broncos and the Chargers and the Chiefs, but then we're going to elevate the Minnesota Vikings, who don't even have a quarterback, and the Green Bay Packers, who can't get past the wild card round. I don't know, again, this doesn't really make sense to me. I've said this a million times. I wholeheartedly told you guys that I am planting my flag early. I believe in the Raiders to the core. And I'm so excited because I genuinely think they will be a great team and can really turn this thing around just like that. I love every single thing the Raiders have done. They've improved everywhere. Every inch of the field, they've gotten better. Every coaching aspect, they've upgraded. They are simply a better team, without a shadow of a doubt, and they can genuinely compete. But we don't have to do it in a way where people now say, well, I don't know about the Chargers and the Broncos. It's going to be a tough division, and these games are going to be amazing to watch. They're going to be absolutely incredible, and that's why I can't wait. But the disadvantage is that Mendoza is a rookie. So Justin Herbert does have an advantage. Bo Nix does have an advantage. Patrick Mahomes does have an advantage. And you now have to go up against great defenses. And great defenses against rookie quarterbacks is never, ever an easy prospect. Ever. The hallmark of a great defense and a great defensive coach is making life absolutely miserable consistent. LY for young quarterbacks, year after year after year, game after game. We see that with all the great defenses, with all the great defensive coaches and coordinators, whatever. We see it every single season. Every single season. So that is what Mendoza is going up against. That's not easy. That is not easy at all. So it doesn't mean they're not going to be competitive. It doesn't mean they're not going to be successful. I'm not saying that. But this is going to be hard. And the Broncos' offense is legit, and I believe the Chargers' offense will be legit. And the Chiefs' offense will be. Those are all teams that, whether you like it or not, let's just say elite, good, great as the levels, right? Elite is obviously elite, great is great, and good is good. Elite is the best, great is second, good is third. At the bare minimum, at the absolute bare minimum, every single one of those teams is at least good at everything. At least good. Not to mention elite in other aspects, whether it's offense or wherever that actually falls, we'll have to wait and see. So that's tough. That's tough. And I don't want that to take away the shine from the Raiders and what they're doing. It takes time to develop as a quarterback in the NFL. Colin said everyone's going back and forth on Mendoza, right? 1 minute he's great, the next minute he's not. There's that. I've never wavered. I've never wavered for a second. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, not running, not hiding, I believe in Mendoza and the Las Vegas Raiders. I believe in Kubiak. I believe in it all. I believe in everything they're doing. But it's still going to take time. I remember I had this feeling about Bo Nix, especially, and Jaden Daniels. Their rookie years ended up working out well for both of them. But those first couple of games, especially with Bo Nix, that first few games, I was like, uh-oh. I think I made a mistake. Not that I made a mistake where I was going to be wrong about Bo Nix, but I made a mistake in not appreciating that it takes time for a quarterback to develop, that it takes time. And I thought, you overlooked this, man. Because I remember making those videos about the Broncos, how they notoriously had a tough schedule to start off against, tough defenses. It was on the road against Seattle and Pittsburgh, just tough, physical defenses. Great defenses. And you're talking about a young rookie quarterback, and it didn't look pretty, right? And at the time we're talking about that when the schedule is released in May or June, and people are like, oh, this is a tough beginning. And I was like, it's not tough. It'll be fine. Bo Nix will be fine. That's Sean Payton, and he's going to be ready. And they just straight up weren't ready. I was like, But they were able to put it together and obviously get to the playoffs, etc. So that was a reminder that no matter how much you believe in the quarterback, no matter how confident you are in the quarterback, you have to leave the door wide open for growing pains. And also, like I said, this is something I've been really locked into for a while now. Great defenses are almost always trouble for young quarterbacks. That's why when they succeed against those defenses, no matter how bad the team is, no matter what the situation is, it is a huge victory. Like even beating a team like the Cleveland Browns, who are terrible offensively but have a great defense, and their coordinator notoriously just chews up rookie quarterbacks. I saw Jaden Daniels do that. That means something. That actually means something more than having a rough game, or whatever other lens you want to look at it through. That's actually a really incredibly important data point, actually worth investigating, and can be more telling, a game like that, than rolling over some bad team or losing to a better, more complete team. I'm like, well, how did you do against this defense? How composed were you? Were you fooled by any of these packages or whatever? So there's going to be a lot of that data for Mendoza and the Raiders. There's going to be a lot of going up against Spags twice. Spags gives Josh Allen trouble, Joe Burrow trouble, Lamar Jackson trouble. He's going to give Mendoza trouble in his third ever game in his NFL career, right? So we have to leave that door wide open. That's all I'm really trying to emphasize. And again, I praise the Raiders and Mendoza to the absolute maximum. So I have no problem making a video like his where it's like, okay, let's look at the other side of things for a bit. Let's bring this down to earth. The way this is set up for me right now is that I expect some struggles, which is totally okay. It doesn't mean, oh, see, he's not as great as you think. And if he succeeds, and I'm convinced he will at least a couple of the times he goes up against these tough defenses, it'll be further proof of just how legit he is and how great this team will be moving forward, right? And sometimes that is the take. It can't always be, they're going to the Super Bowl. They're winning the division. It just can't always be that. It wasn't even like that for the Washington Commanders, where Jaden Daniels had the best rookie season ever. And I've already unpacked that in Raiders videos, so I won't do that again. But they didn't win the division. It felt like maybe they were close, but in hindsight they were never actually close to winning the division. The rest of the season unfolded, and one of the games they won, Jalen Hurts got knocked out and they were going up against Kenny Pickett. What's Kenny Pickett doing in the NFL right now? Nothing. So, congrats, you beat him. That would have made the margin even wider in terms of their ability to even come close to winning the division, let alone make the playoffs. So that's what was so impressive to me, to actually go back to this whole matchup thing. Bo Nix playing against the Kansas City Chiefs' rookie year on the road at Arrowhead. Hat was all the proof I needed. They lost, it was the crazy field goal, the blocked kick, the whole thing. But Bo Nix was the best quarterback that day. He outplayed Patrick Mahomes. And people were like, yeah, but what about this? What about that? I said, I don't care about anything. That defense is legit. That defense is elite. That's Spags. On the road. That was the biggest game of Bo Nix's career, and he shined. He passed with flying colors. That single game alone taught me everything. I don't care what happened against the Steelers. I don't care what happened against the Seahawks. I don't care what happened against that team or this team. None of that matters, because I saw when it mattered most against an elite team, an elite coach, what happened. And that landed for me more than anything. And then again, looking at the Raiders, there are a minimum of 3 games where we get to observe that, 3 games, let alone 6, 7, 8. So yeah, I think in a lot of ways, the Raiders' ability to have success, especially if Mendoza is the one starting, depends on the order of the schedule. The order of the schedule matters a lot to me, not just the schedule itself, but the order in terms of who you are playing at the beginning of the season. And that's the situation with the Raiders. If they have to play some of these divisional games early in the season, and they clearly have to go up against better defenses early on when Mendoza is trying to figure things out and work it out, then yeah, that is stacked against them. That is a legitimate disadvantage. If a lot of these other games are more toward the second half of the season, then it can become game on for sure. But it takes time. It took time even for Sam Darnold to work things out with Clint Kubiak and the Seattle Seahawks, and they went on to win the Super Bowl, right? They literally went on to win the Super Bowl, and Sam is an experienced veteran coming off a season where he had tons of success with the Minnesota Vikings. And that took time. And again, they won the Super Bowl. So things take time. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Las Vegas Raiders? Do you think Mendoza is the perfect quarterback to lead an NFL franchise? How are you feeling about how quickly they can turn things around? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some debates, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you be part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing that. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.